Wow. That sounded intense.
My beverage.
Welcome back to the BOBCAST. This is episode number 15, and we're recording it. I have to mention this just in case you can hear it in the background, but we're recording it on this nice rainy day, kind of because it's literally the last possible chance we had to record this actually before it goes up this weekend. Been pretty busy this month. But yeah, we're talking about starting fresh, new groups, getting a group together, getting the band together, right?
Yeah. We're talking about it because I just did it this week.
With much success.
Yeah.
So it seems so far.
Yeah, so I was just like on the internet one day.
Wow.
And I was like, dang, I've been working on this new setting for like a month. And I'm tired of waiting to play it. Tired of waiting for Bob to finish his Icewind Dale campaign so that I can have a turn with the group.
Yeah, me too. Me too, to be honest.
So I was like, maybe someone on Roll20 will play my game.
And then what happened?
And then I created the game and I made a forum post.
Yeah, so what are these Roll20 forums? I didn't know they existed.
Yeah, so there's like 2 places I found that you can like advertise games. And one of them is like an actual LFG.
Looking for a group?
Yeah.
Right?
Or game.
Game.
Like forum where you just like type out a post.
Just looking for guys.
And find a guy. And then the other one is like if you create a game on Roll20, like when you go in to make a campaign, then you can go to like update listing or something. And then you go into this other forum that just all these games that people are in. And they're basically just either looking for players or looking for a DM. So the first thing I actually tried was I applied to be someone's DM, but they accepted me, but then I didn't get their message for like 24 hours and they went with someone else.
Yeah, it's a cruel world out there.
Yeah.
DM world.
So I was like, I'm going to make my own campaign.
Yeah, you don't need them.
Yeah. So I took a lesson from a lot of the posts that I saw because a lot of them were just like really disorganized with no detail about what the campaign was supposed to be about.
I want to play D&D, please.
Yes.
Did they even say please, actually?
Yeah. I want to play D&D. Apply in the comments.
Apply now. Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
I feel like this effort we've ever put in, I mean, I shouldn't even say we. I didn't do this. This was all your effort. Ever put into getting a group together?
That I've ever put into anything in my life.
You have been really, really going at it. But yeah, because my first group that I played in, again, as a player, of course, was just one of my best friends saying like, hey, do you guys want to play D&D? And enough of us were like, yeah, let's try this game. And then when I wanted to DM, I just asked a bunch of friends, including some from that one, which had at that point like fizzled out. And it worked. Like just enough people said yes. So it was kind of really convenient that I just had enough friends who were enough interested to give it a shot. But most people aren't in such a fortunate situation. Part of it is letting people that you know that you play D&D. Because then if they are interested, they might be like, hey, can I try?
Let's get a group together.
Yeah, friends, coworkers. Literally, those are the best things to pull from, in my experience. So online.
So basically, like the first thing I did was I pulled out introductory flavor text to like draw people in. And it basically like gave a small introduction to what the setting was like.
To literally lure them in.
Yes.
With lore.
Lore with lore.
Lore.
And then I just did a couple bullet points like, here's what I'm looking for, all players welcome, good mix of RP and combat, general specifics.
General specifics. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like when I sort of had to do a similar thing with my Patreon tier description when I first created the one that I run. But like in my post, it was just kind of here, we're going to use Roll20. We're going to use Google Meet. I prefer, video. So just kind of laying out those specifics.
Yeah. But
generally meaning like there's the things you need to cover. Like you said, kind of preference for the game style, and maybe the tools you're going to use.
So yeah, and then I made 2 threads.
Threads?
Threads.
I heard you.
I made a player applications thread and a thread for questions for me. Because something that I saw on a lot of other posts was just like everybody who applied just like made their own thread. And then some of them would just be like, can I play? Like some people didn't even make like an application questionnaire, basically, which I think is really important. Like here's what I put on my questionnaire, for example. Name, which like on Roll20 your username is usually just your name anyway, so whatever.
Date of birth, social security number.
No. Name, age, time zone,
Yes.
availability, and then I had 2 questions.
Cats or dogs?
1, we meet in a tavern. Where are you sitting?
Yeah.
That question was kind of like a personality, like a
Yeah.
tiny, minuscule personality test.
Yeah, it's in the
Obviously,
waters
I
here.
was trying to filter out the people who are like, I'm brooding in the corner.
Yeah.
Nobody actually said that, but I did get a couple answers to that question that I was
broody
like,
vibes.
no, I don't, this isn't the vibe. I don't want to play with this person.
Yeah.
So like it did really help. And then other ones just like made me laugh out loud. And that was one I was like, okay, this is on my
For
quick list
or something.
Yeah.
Short list.
And then the second question I asked was not really a question, but write 5 sentences of a backstory. Any backstory. It doesn't have to be the one you're going to use. Just basically tell me a story about a person.
A little homework.
Yeah. And that was my test, first of all, to see if they would put any effort at all into a backstory.
Yeah, I think that's important,
Yeah.
honestly.
Because, like, trying to write a homebrew campaign without knowing your players' backstories is like trying to write a book without ever writing the first chapter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
you're so
there's-
right. You need a starting point.
Yeah, there needs to be an origin. Even if you have a particular vision, it's always best to work in a couple backstory elements. So,
It
like,
is absolutely best.
that's
yeah.
why I wanted people who were going to write.
Make them put a little bit of effort in there, just showing that, D&D is a big commitment. So if they can't even write a few sentences of backstory for you, you probably don't want
One paragraph is really all you need. Like, what you should be looking for is a loved one, an antagonist,
Yeah.
and how do I explain it?
Describe it.
Maybe
a little.
like a plot that they aren't expecting to happen. Like something that you know as the DM probably happened in the background of their life that they didn't know about but will realize later.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now I've been tying them up in narrative knots, just asking them very vague questions.
That's the DM's job. A
Yeah.
lot of vague questions. I don't know. Like, I kind of want to talk about session 0 because I
Okay.
know that, like, for example, I don't think you used my ultimate session 0 checklist.
I have my own Session 0 ultimate checklist.
Yeah, off the top of my head, having created that many, many months ago at this point. I mean, I know it begins with like scheduling. That's kind of the most important
Yeah,
thing.
I made a
So,
spreadsheet
yeah,
to check that everyone I wanted, their schedules would match up.
Right. And when I did it the first time around, we used just this free site called like When to Meet that allows people to highlight their availability and just made sure everyone knew like what time zone we were talking about because we are across a few time zones in that campaign. But ended up settling on a time, and then after our one like long break where we were looking for a new player, we just stayed at that same time. Then that just kind of helped filter out people, I guess. I feel like, didn't you experience with one character in the campaign has like a kind of alternate work schedule compared to everybody else?
No, I don't know. I know like one of them's a college student, one of them is out of high school but not in college, and one of them is closer to my age, but I don't really know what
Yeah.
they're doing with their life.
Yeah.
So they
But
might have a like job.
But that's another great point actually that I wanted to like highlight again. How you asked for their age. Like that is something I feel like I totally should have done and just said like 18 plus.
Yeah.
Honestly, as some kind of like liability thing.
Yeah,
almost.
that's a thing on Roll20 is that like you can't discriminate based on age, yet you can make a campaign 18 plus. But then when people are searching for campaigns, they have to opt in to include 18 plus games.
Yeah, it's just important to consider that.
You do have to think about maturity level.
Yeah, especially if it's strangers. That's just something I think is important. Now, like an environment where that could totally not happen and it be okay is like in person at a game store. There could totally be people of like all ages there, but anybody who's probably really young would probably be with a parent or with like a friend who's older or something. Yeah. And when you're there literally in person, I don't know, I just feel like it's going to be harder for the game to like take too weird of a turn into something that
you don't spend enough time on RPG horror stories subreddits.
Grace is a professional reader and responder to RPG horror stories. I don't know. I do know game stores are traditionally where like a lot of these horror stories come from, because you do just end up with a group of people who didn't really choose each other. They're just kind of choosing the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, Roll20, I never used it, but seems like a really great way to find a group actually. There are subreddits for that too, right? Did you consider looking at their LFG?
In the r/LFG.
Yeah.
But too many people from too many different time zones and too many different kinds of looking for game.
Yeah.
It'd be like, I'm looking for a DM. I'm looking for one player. I want to join a group.
I see what you mean.
I need 2 players. Like, nothing was specific enough.
Yeah. There's got to be an app out there by now. There's probably a few that is almost like a
Tinder
like a dating
for
app.
D&D.
Yeah, where it's just literally setting out exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah.
But like you said, that subreddit didn't seem to, I guess, have an efficient way of doing that. Rough. Because on that subreddit, is that just D&D?
No, I think
that's
it's
like
everything.
any game too. I guess most people are probably doing 5e D&D anyway, but yeah, it's a tough world out there trying to find a group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will still never resort to Adventures League.
Yeah.
I do not enjoy Adventures League.
Comment below. How did you feel about Adventures League? Did you ever try it?
Not only do I not particularly like playing with people I didn't choose to play with, but I also hate the rules.
Yeah. That's the biggest fault of, honestly, organized play.
I can't be as creative as I want to be.
Yeah.
And then, like, I have to make it, like, quote, Adventures League legal or whatever with the ID number and everything. That's just annoying. I don't really care about that.
Why is there red tape?
Take their characters to conventions and play them, but like we tried to tell our one Adventures League DM that we weren't going to do that stuff. We didn't really need all the ID number and stuff, and they were like, no, I want to make sure that you can play this at a convention. It's like, I
guess if I were the DM for Adventures League, I would also want to do it by the book, because then if someone does take that character somewhere and it's like not set up right or whatever, then that DM is going to be like, who was your DM before? And then
like they would even know each other.
Well, no, just like, I don't know. I just wouldn't want to set somebody else up for a rough time if they wanted to play by the rules,
yeah.
you know?
I get that.
So,
but like when someone is telling you that I'm not going to do this, then
for what matters at the table, Adventures League is way less fun than it should be.
Yeah.
Than D&D in general should be. Yeah. And I think it is a lot looser now that there are so many books. Like it used to be, like Player's Handbook
and one
other book. I think now that might be done, or it's like 2 other books, because, there's like subclasses and races and just multiple expansions now. Like 5e's getting so big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comment below. How do you feel about seltzer water?
Seltzer water is the Adventures League of drinks.
No.
Anyway, one thing about Adventures League, though, I think the whole point of, like we were just saying, making it legal, quote unquote, for a convention or whatever, is that with homebrew being so down to, I guess I should say, like house rules, just like whatever your DM says is okay, then of course you could end up with some wacky crap. And then that DM has to be like, how are you even thinking that'd be okay?
What's this URL? dndwiki.com?
Exactly.
That's your source?
Biggest red flag. Biggest red flag for any DM. Yeah.
Sometimes for fun, I just go on there and look for the stupidest things that I can find.
That'd be a good podcast. Or at least a good, good video.
I think it's been done.
Podcast. We could do that.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is like how house rules is another important thing to discuss in your session 0 or like with your new players that you're kind of pulling out of the ether.
Yeah. In my session 0, I even made like a house rule channel, like text channel in my Discord, because if we ever need to reference it in game, or if we ever like lose a player and we get a new one, then it's just like there in writing for everyone to see.
That's a good idea.
So yeah, we talked about my house rules. We talked about, well, this was pre-session 0, but we talked about the 2 things that will never ever happen in the campaign,
Yeah,
which
just
are
limits.
Violence towards children, violence.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also asked them for their hard stops. And I was like, I'm never going to discuss this openly with other players, but this is just so that if a thing is happening, I can like stop it.
Yeah, I'm glad we circled back to this because we've probably talked about it multiple times in different episodes, but especially if you're going to play with strangers, like that's so important to do.
Yeah.
Because like you have no idea what their experiences are like. You can't really read the room so much. It's just approach it as like being as open to everyone else's limits as possible, I guess.
We also discussed in our session 0 expectations.
Yeah.
Don't cheat. Don't metagame. Finding out that someone was reading the stat block of a boss that I was using during the fight was honestly one of the most soul-crushing things that has ever happened to me as a DM. And then I had them like set expectations for each other too. And the main one was, let's not steal from each other, guys.
Okay.
And then we also discussed PvP. Oh, I told them how like my persuasion exists in my game, which is like you're not really gonna roll for it so much.
Yeah, I don't know. That might be another good podcast topic because I feel like I have more to say about that. But it's cool.
But that's just all my stuff.
Yeah, I guess to wrap it up, how's it going?
Good. I mean, everyone showed up to session 0, so that's a good start. We thought we were gonna have to wait until next week to have our actual first game, but then the player who wasn't able to play was like, my thing got postponed, we can play this week now. So now I'm just waiting on one more player to actually confirm that that change was okay.
Nice.
Yeah, just trying to stay in contact with people, like asking them more questions about their backstories as I'm like fleshing things out, and like adapting my world to their needs pretty much.
Bingo.
Like something that has happened that I didn't really even think about was like one of my players wants to be a gladiator, but they're from like the city of elves. And like who thinks of elves as having gladiatorial combat as their chosen sport? So at first I was like, that's weird. But then it's like, no, that's awesome. Why not? So that's the thing now. And that's like what I'm really loving about learning these backstories is that it's just putting all this stuff like in my world that I never would have thought of on my own.
Yeah. Would you recommend trying to find a group of strangers for a DM or a player who has like people they know that they could play with?
It's kind of a weird thing to recommend because people just have so many different comfort levels and like attentiveness levels. If you feel like you're ready for it, then yeah, you should go for it. If you feel like you need more D&D in your life than other people in your current circle can provide for you, then yeah, do it.
Nice.
And if it is a bad group, leave the group.
Yeah.
Don't stay in the bad group.
Don't stay in the bad group so long that you gotta write an RPG horror stories post about it. If
something happens that is bad right off the bat and you don't like it, you leave.
Plenty of fish in the sea, folks.
Yeah. You should. There are so many.
There's so many freaking fish out there.
So many forum posts on Roll20 and Reddit, and just like once you get over the fear of playing online or playing with strangers, it's like a whole extra ocean.
Yeah. And you know what? You don't even feel the need to be like uber polite about it. If it's bad, just get out of there.
That's a good thing about playing with strangers. You don't have to worry about the like personal conflicts that it will cause for you.
Yeah.
Just block them all.
Yeah, if they do something that just rubs you the wrong way, you don't need to be like, I'm sorry, I can't play in this game anymore because blah, blah, blah. No, just
leave.
okay, bye. Maybe just tell them, yeah, I'm not going to be in this campaign anymore. But that's it.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't totally ghost them because they might then still be like trying to get in contact with you. But yeah, don't put up with their crap.
Yep.
Well, go find a group. Let us know how it goes.
Feel free to use my profile questions.
And keep building.